Colin, just where do you think football is at the moment? There'll be a lot of people saying, that games aren't entertaining anymore. You've obviously been involved in it for, decades now, but you were on the sideline this year. What's your feeling on where football is, the health of kind of inter-county football at the moment?
Well, I've been on the sideline for 40 years as well. Like, I think people get the impression that I suddenly dropped into team management, but I've been involved in team management every single year, I'd say, for 40 years. Paddy Woods down there was on a All-Ireland winning team with us in St. Pat's, a senior colleges team, and had plenty of success with Simonstown and winning championships too. But the answer to the question is that the development of the game is, I suppose, driven by smart coaches. And I always feel that every game has to respond to the way that the game is going by rule changes. And the shot clock in basketball being one example. Like in rugby, when I was young, I used to go to all the rugby matches, and you go to a game and the out half would get the ball and he'd just kick it into touch and then it'd be a throw in. And when they changed it, that if you kicked into touch from outside the 25, or 20, whatever it is in metres now, it became a throw into the opposition, changed the whole dynamic of the game. And the same thing with soccer, when they introduced the pass back to the goalkeeper, that they just couldn't pick it up. That changed. I think the GA have been slow to respond, and the changes that have been made to the game have not encouraged the traditional skills, because I think everybody admires catching and kicking as the primary parts of Gaelic games, and they have been overtaken by a monopoly of hand passing, which now runs at 4 or 5 times the amount of hand passing to kicking. So it all depends. Do you admire coaches who bring the game to a certain level with mass defence and hand passing, or do you feel that it should be restored to a more traditional game? And I think we had plenty of critics in Meath early in the year about defending, and we didn't know how to defend and things like that, and I was a Stone Age man when it came to defence. But good defending is an art in itself too, and to be able to organise. And the biggest problem we had was we had so many new players, it took them a long time to settle into defending, and they got better and better, and their best defensive performance was in the Tailteann Cup final. So I admire good defending as much as I admire good long-range kicking and some of the other attributes of the game. But to make a point after a long talk, I'd say the games possibly are not as exciting. But in saying that, every Dublin-Kerry game I think that I have ever been at in big games in Croke Park, to me, have always had massive excitement. Like last year's semi-final was massively exciting. The 2019 drawn game and replay, they were brilliant matches. The semi-final, like Kevin McManaman got the goal. Like, what a game of football. So, like, it depends on the teams. And I think that people should copy Dublin and Kerry. I can't understand why teams have different styles than Dublin or Kerry, because for me, you just go out and copy what they are doing. And the main thing is, and I don't know whether there was a golden rule with your team or with your team, is when you get the ball in defence, try and move it quickly out rather than back or sideways. And I think Dublin kicking the ball forward has been the biggest part of their game for years. And Kerry, for the last couple of years, their kicking of the ball from defence to get into attacking positions has been very good. So, like, Dublin and Kerry, for me, have shown how the kicking game should be played and have made the games. I would go to the moon to watch Dublin and Kerry in a big game, because I find them such an enthralling contest and so enjoyable in every way.
And Colin, have you missed the Sunday game this year? Like, Tomas obviously was cute enough to go with the 20s, so he'd be able to come back in for the rest of the season. But have you missed the Sunday game?
He got it both ways, so. Well, I suppose I have missed it a bit, but if it was to be compared to managing Meath, I'd take managing Meath every day.
What was it like trying to manage Brolly, but you didn't have to manage him. What was it like trying to tolerate him at times?
Yeah, well, the great thing about Pat and Joe is they had opinions of everything. They knew how to run the game, and never in a million years would anybody ever let them near a team. So they could, because they'd make a complete bollocks of it, let's be fair. But I was on even a podcast with them this morning for the first time in years, and they still have these great opinions about everything should be done. But like, you know, they were great entertainment, but like, yeah. But I enjoyed them no end, because I think at least they gave an opinion, and everybody looking at the television was saying, jeez, that idiot, what is he saying now? Like, at least they created controversy, they created discussion. I think what you have now is a sort of anemic blandness. Apart from Tomas, he'll say something to insult people. Like, at least you could be guaranteed with Brolly. And of course, he'd say something this week, and he'd say the exact opposite next week. And he'd probably believe in it both times. So, you need entertainment.
Someone only sent me that. Brolly just tweeted some photo of me being a dolphin jumping up out of the water. Does anyone see that? Just about an hour ago, like, someone just sent that to me. I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Joe Brolly has an infatuation with you, Michael Darabella, because he penned a love letter to you there a couple of weeks ago about meeting you for coffee and saying that you reaffirmed his faith in football and in life and everything.
Pat Gilroy is his other hero.
Yeah. I don't know. Everything was apparently off the record, but like, I said this before. Like, nothing is off the record. One time he rang me and he was like, "Hell yeah," and I was like, "Sure, not a bother." And all I heard was tap 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 tap. And I was like, "You all right there, Joe?" Like, and he's like, "I can hear the keyboard moving in the background." I was like, I just hang up the phone. I was like, "See you later." And then the other time I met him, I was like, it was 9 o'clock on a Monday. Sorry, that's a lie. I was like, one of my bosses is there now. I wouldn't want to out myself. I was like, it was 8 o'clock. Actually, wait a minute. It was 6 o'clock. I was on 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on the way to work. I was going to get in and do 3 hours before it started. And but I just went for a coffee in my local coffee shop, like I always do. And I bumped into Joe, just like queuing for a coffee, just getting a takeaway coffee on the way. Being 3 hours 3 hours early for work, as I always am. And I was like, geez, Joe, how's things? Shooting the breeze and blah blah blah. And just shot the breeze, like just queuing for a coffee and paid for a coffee. See you later, Joe. Off the door. The next day, it was the front page of the Independent. Like, I was like, what just happened there? Like, I was like, look, that's how Joe operates. Like, Joe is a storyteller. That's how Joe operates. So yeah.
He had one time, and I always wanted to check if it was true, but I've a fair idea. I know whether it's true or not. But he said basically that you forgot your boots, I think, for the 2011 All-Ireland final, and that Pat Gilroy just happened to be wearing the same boots, and he gave you his boots. Is that correct or incorrect?
Yeah, I think Pat came on this podcast to clarify this. Unfortunately, like without, I'd like to say it's nonsense, but unfortunately, there's a whole lot of truth behind it. But it wasn't for the game that he said it was for. I think it was for like the semi-final. I think it might have been Tyrone. Yeah.
You forgot your boots for All-Ireland semi-final?
I forgot my boots. If you want the real story, it actually happened more than once, and there was an emergency visit that had to be done over the toll bridge to try and get a boot down to me in the Hogan stand. I forgot one boot a second time, if we're going to be honest about it. But Pat Gilroy had a pair of awful Puma Kings that I had to wear for a match. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so that's unfortunately it's a true story. Yeah. So yeah, doesn't paint me in a particularly intelligent limelight, but there you go.
Tomas, I know you wanted to come in on the back of Brolly. You've had a few minor disagreements with him. He said the Gooch was an average footballer, I think, one Sunday night. What were your experiences like with him in studio?
I was just saying that the first time I was ever on RT, and it's nerve-wracking enough. I was on for a live match with Joe, and it was coming from Thurles because there was a hurling game on after, and there was an Ulster Championship game. I think it was Fermanagh and Cavan that were playing. And first time I'd ever met Joe, and I was fierce nervous about the TV thing, fierce nervous. So we were out on the terrace because the hurling was on after, the pitch was empty. So he was telling me, Jesus Christ, what's going to watch Cavan and Fermanagh? He said basically, he said the football will be turgid. He says Cavan, oh Jesus. So anybody from Cavan, I apologise, but he kept saying, I'm going to describe Cavan football as. I can't even say it now. There is a lady here. I can't. No, geez, Is this recorded? It is.
Yes.
Yeah, so he something part of the body in you, and it wasn't nice in you. So I said, "Geez, Joe," I says, "I'm not a solicitor or anything, but I'm pretty sure you can't say that on television."
And he is a barrister, obviously.
Yeah, but he kept saying it, and we were inside. We moved from the terrace into the commentary box, and we were inside, and there was 3 or 4 working, and he said it inside there as well, that he was going to say it. And I said, Jesus Christ, so we were 10-9, we were going on, and he was yapping into my fucking ear. I couldn't, I had a big list of stuff I was going to say. Like. So it went on air anyway, and everybody'd forgotten about it. Next thing he started the sentence, he says, Cavan football. And I says, so I put up my hand up like this to my face, like, and is as ugly as Marty Morrissey. And I says, not too bad. Compared to what he was going to say, not too bad. I never saw Michael Lester get angry. Jesus, he reddened him. When we went to break, don't you ever do that to me on live television. You will apologise. So then we were doing analysis at half-time, and there was a TV right there in front of us, and Brolly was on the phone. Somebody from RT had rang him to give him a bollocking as well. And he says, what are you saying? I didn't tell any lies. Oh, he took credit for making a sex symbol out of Marty, I think. Yeah.
But that was the toned down version of what he was going to say, by all accounts.
Oh, jeez, that was a good version. So, yeah.
Joe's well able, yeah.
Colin, do you have any good recollections of Joe?
I used to turn down the volume of Joe. I didn't listen to him too much, yeah, he was entertaining. He had Joe has a big ego, and at times you'd have to reel him in, because he could say and do outrageous things. But again, I go back to the thing. He was always controversial. And a lot of the time, I thought he made perfect sense about quite a lot of things in the GAA. He has a deep appreciation of the GAA's role in community, and that's one of the reasons why he has such a high opinion of Michael, is because of his role in the North Inner City and a lot of the work he does. He would very much appreciate that, and he's a most generous man as well. If you wanted help, whether financial or anything else, he would go to the ends of the earth for you. So I will always give him a free pass if he gets in trouble and anything, because of his basic humanity and his concern particularly for less well-off citizens, and the work he does and the places he goes. And Michael would know this, he would never take a penny for any of those things. And in fact, if he went to a GAA function and he was offered money, he'd be highly insulted, because he would see that he was giving something back to this great community of which we're all part of.